Hey people, I'm back today. Said I'd try to make some different videos and post a little bit more often. It's a Sunday. My brother's actually kind enough to help me make this, so he's behind the camera. What we're doing, I've got a customer who needs a custom choke for his shotgun. He does turkey shoots. It's for a Remington 870, so I've got a Remington 870 choke, and then I've got this slug right here of steel, and we're going to make it look like something pretty and nice that he'll be able to use with his specifications of what he was wanting. So we parted this off from a piece of round stock in the lathe, and now we've got to face it off, and then we'll get on with the next operations. Over here dropping stuff, but it's all right. So what we're going to do is we're going to face off both of these ends, make them nice and smooth. So that's good there for the one end, and you can see there, and I'm not too concerned about the border, the perimeter there, because we're going to be taking this down quite a bit on the outer diameter. And I'm probably going to have to take more than one cut on this face. Now that little indent that's left there isn't a concern to me. I want to save as much of the length of this as I can, and I'm going to be drilling all the way through and boring this thing anyway, so that'll go on the back side. I'll do my drilling from here, and that'll get drilled out anyhow. So what we got to do next is turn the majority of this down to this diameter here. So we'll put this guy in here, and what I got to do, we'll see, we'll go almost right up to, well, almost right up to that. Now I'm not going to be able to do this. Yeah, I won't be able to do this with it running. So what we can do, Make sure I got enough room to miss. Now I've got a good line to go up to. And I just want to make sure my chuck is tight and good enough for this. So now we can start taking some big old beefy cuts off of this thing and get it down to the right diameter. Like 40 thou depth of cut. Just trying to remove some meat. Take a 50 thou pass and see what happens. And real quick, something worth mentioning. I can't touch them because they're burning up hot down here. But when you're getting these little chips, and they'll call them, you know, C's and 6s. Again, hard to hold on to. But they'll call them C's and 6s. When you're getting chips like that, you know that you've got your RPM and your feed rate. And that's your feed rate is how fast this dude is moving towards the chuck. You know that you've got that right. If it's too slow, you'll get long, stringy chips that are crappy, and you don't want that because you'll get a terrible finish, and it's just not good for your carbide insert. So I know everything that I'm doing now. I got right speed, right feed, good looking chips, so we'll keep on. So another thing too is periodically I want to check and see where I'm at. Now, for anybody that's new to machining, I call these my guessing sticks because calipers are not precision. They get you close enough, they get you in the ballpark, but what you want to use for precision is micrometers. But for now, this will give me a ballpark to where I'm at. So this dude is 817 thou. Let's see. This guy is 941, which is good because that means if I take another 50 thou depth of cut, this should go down to, if I take 50 thou depth of cut, that means I'm taking 100 thousandths off of the total diameter. So that should take me down to 841, if I'm doing my math correctly. which is above my 817, so that's good with me. So we'll see, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Again with the guessing sticks. And we want a few thou. Oh, well. We're about a thou off, but pretty close to what we wanted. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to measure this diameter. It's actually 817 thousandths. Yep, you can see that good. So we got 817, and then here we've got, I'm gonna make me do math here, 25, and we've got 837. So then I said what, 817, 836. So we got to take off 20 thousandths. So because we need to take 20 thousandths off of the total diameter, we're going to take 10 off of the face because, well, that's the radius. So I go 10 thousandths on the dial. Check where we're at. We're actually at 819, so we're going to take a skim pass on that dude. If you can tell by the video, it's not taking much, but we are removing some meat. And I would rather have to do this 100 times than to overshoot it. So yeah, of course, we're still over. But that's all right. What I'm doing is just trying to not look like a jackass in front of people on camera, so that's why I'd rather take my time. Finally, at 817, right where we wanted to be. So, I'm happy with that. And then what we'll do is we kept, every time we would come to the end of our cut, I was coming up short on the shoulder. So now you can see the shoulder looks like crap, but that's okay, because we'll clean that up and make it look nice. So now our shoulder there looks good. But right now this diameter here is larger than what it's going to be when we're finished. I'm just keeping this right here as a driver for the chuck. So next is the part that I enjoy the least, and that's punching a hole all the way through this dude by drilling. I don't mind boring. It seems to go pretty quick, but drilling seems like it just takes forever. So we're going to change the speed, change the RPM. What we'll do is disengage the feed. We don't need that anymore. And we will go to, let's see, roughly about 500 RPM. Let's see here. And that's perfect for drilling. So, let me see if I got a center drill. Try just to get the chips out of the way. I don't want to run my tailstock on them and gouge up my ways. So let me grab a center bit and I will be right back. If you want to switch me spots, you can stand here. I'll fiddle around with the microphone. So what we're going to do is we've got to use a center drill. And you use one of these. You don't want to just start with the drill bit because the drill bit's wobbly and it'll start walking all over the place. So you get your hole started, centered with one of these. So now you can see you've got a nice, perfectly centered hole. It's not wobbling around or anything. That's a good guide for my drill bit to fall into when I start with my next size drill. So we'll take this guy out of here. I will grab a drill bit. But yeah, this is probably the most boring part, sitting here drilling holes, but it has to be done. It really doesn't take that long. It's just, it is time consuming though. I don't know if you can see or notice on camera, but you'll see I'm plunging in, then I kind of back out, and then I start drilling again, back out. And that's called peck drilling. And that, what you're doing is you're giving the chips an opportunity to evacuate the hole. When you do that, you're way more likely to drill a perfectly straight hole than if I just keep applying pressure, and next thing you know, the damn drill bit pops out the side of my workpiece and I'm all pissed off. And the same thing should be done when you're using a milling machine. Really any type of drilling operation where you've got a fairly deep hole that you're trying to drill. Every now and then I'll throw some cutting oil back on there. And this bit's probably going to take the longest to get through, and that's just because the center of the drill bit, the way that it's cut, the relief on it, has to pretty much rip its way through the hole. It's hard to, well, it's easier to show a person than it is to describe it. But So when I start getting up to the larger drill bits, it should go fairly quickly. It's always a good sign too when you're drilling and your drill bit's not walking around wobbling. It means your hole's getting straight. Last thing you want to do is be about 9/10 of the way through your part and then break your drill bit off. That's a bad day. Then what I do when I start getting so far, it saves time. Instead of having to keep cranking this dude out, what I'll do is just run the whole tailstock in there. So yeah, a lot of people don't realize what goes into making some things, even some things as simple as a choke. It's not that it's difficult, it's just that it's time consuming and tedious, and you've got to get the right dimensions and diameters, and then I'll still have to chase threads on this thing, and it feels like I'm getting near the end. At least it feels that way. Less and less pressure on the quill here. Yep. Feels like I'm definitely at the end. So what I'll do is clear my chips one more time. Throw some more cutting fluid on it. Yep, there we go. All the way through. And this will probably squeal and make all kinds of horrendous noises at first until it gets started. That's horrible. Like that. It's just chiseling its way in. You can see those nice curly cute chips. That's how you know you're drilling a good, solid straight hole. This should actually go through faster than the last one did because it's got a center already there. Or the chips can get evacuated easier. It just sounds terrible. It's my 5/8 bit. Hopefully this should punch through faster than that one even did. And again, same deal. Gonna squeal, make noises, sound horrendous until it gets started in there. And actually, if you start drilling something and it starts squealing really bad, if it's not a hard metal, if it's a hard metal, you're screwed. But if it's not a hardened steel or metal, what that means is you're actually not applying enough pressure. It's the drill bit and the part wanting more pressure to get a better cut. So yeah, this dude's going through like butter. Shouldn't take too much time. See how hot those chips are smoking off of there. Another thing too, and then again this kind of goes back to my talking about drill bits don't make perfect holes or smooth holes. If you don't evacuate the chips enough, you're really going to get a terrible surface finish on the inside, which again doesn't matter for me because I get my blade, or I was talking crap before, getting my drill bit too hot. But it doesn't matter for me because I'm going to be boring this out. But let's see, just slow down. we're going to do is take a break for a minute and then let this guy cool off, and then we'll come back to you. So we are back. Just had to take a short break, let this guy cool off a little bit, and I'm diabetic, so my blood sugar was low. It's another reason it was so hot back here. Happens when your blood sugar gets low. But so we're going to continue drilling this out. It looks like we're probably about just peeking down through there, probably about 80% through it. So we'll go ahead and continue with that, and then move on to the next operation. And see if you see the drill bit. Start seeing it. So we are officially through. Alright. We are now all the way through our 5/8 bit. So what I'm going to do, get some of the mess out of the way. So we are back again, and I got my boring bar set up in the tool holder, and we're going to try to bore this guy out to 682 thousandths is what the customer said he wanted the internal diameter at. So again, this is one of those deals, we'll just sneak up on our dimension, bore it out a little bit, mic it, bore it, mic it, until we get to where we're supposed to be. We'll try to touch off on the part, and then we'll go again. There we go. That's the type of cut it should take. 7, 5, but let's take a measurement real quick. Yeah, tool was too low last time. Now we're getting a nicer finish. Let's see, I gotta do math. 646. Yeah. Yep, 646. Okay. Takes me a minute. one reason I do not enjoy boring is a mess. So what was I, 6? Ooh. Ah, cat-like reflexes. I was at 664. Now I'm at 6 because that was a little skim pass. 667. If I take another 5 off. And the little skim pass, they actually refer to it as it's a spring pass because the spring pressure from the tool is what is actually taking the cut right now. So anytime you take a cut, you've got a amount of pressure on that tool, and that boring bar is going to give so much. And so now going back and taking a cut where we were at the same number on the dial again, you're just using the advantage of that spring pressure of that boring bar. And you can see it obviously took a cut. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. 682. There we go. Spot on where I needed to be. So, thank you, Lord. Because there's nothing like scrapping out a part that you've got, you know, a solid hour invested in. It's the last thing you want to do. One thing we're going to have to do, and this is actually the fun part. This is the part that a lot of people don't get to see too much, and we're going to cut the threads in this dude. First, get this dude put away. Let's see here. First, I gotta put my turning tool back in here. And again, this is a pain in the ass when you don't have a quick change tool post. And what we're going to do, and what we've got to do, is the diameter where these threads are is just a hair smaller, a few thousand smaller than this diameter that we turned. I think we turned this to, what was that, 817? I think, let's see here, we'll find out real quick. Yeah, that was 817, and the thread diameter is 809. So we've got to take off 8 thousandths. And real quick way to do this, just because we need to know how long this is. Now we've got a little line there. And what I've got to also do on this, you can see this diameter is even thinner than the diameter here. There's actually an equation for this. I think this is 32 threads per inch. Let's see here if I can find my thread gauge. A lot of this stuff is all math. It really is. So I got a 32 TPI thread gauge. It is indeed, I can do this, 32 TPI. Now to figure out the depth of the root, I mean the lowest portion of this thread, to figure out how deep you would have to machine this on your compound, you take 0.75 and you divide it by 32 for the 32 TPI. And if I remember correctly, it comes up to somewhere around 26 thousandths. So what I want to do for a lead is, well, first off, let's cut this to, what did I say, 809. We'll do this first, 809. So we'll do this real quick. At 812, we'll take just a little bit more. So this is going to be where our threads are. We've got 809. And then we've also got to, this is where my threads are going to start. This is even thinner now too, so God, this starts getting finicky to hold. Oh, for the love of God. There we go. What is that? 798, 797. So 797. And what we're going to do is just feed this by hand. Still gotta make this 797. Oh well, hell, we lucked out there. So half thou off, but what do you do? That's not gonna hurt anything. And then, let's see here. Then I've also got to make a root for my thread. You guys, this all makes sense to you when you see me start to do it. But I basically got to make a gutter for my threading tool to fall into. So, and it's got to be, because if you remember correctly, I said my thread root depth will be 26 thousandths deep. So I've got to make this gutter 26 thousandths deep, or roundabouts there. I'll make it even, 25. just like that, I've got a place for my threading tool to fall into. And again, this stuff will all make sense to you guys once you see it actually happening. So let me grab my threading tool down here. And I'll get that guy set up. Like I said earlier, I actually really enjoy threading, so hopefully I don't screw this up. That would be embarrassing. Okay, well, I don't know what would be the better position. I don't know, can you stand right here okay? Because I kind of gotta be right here. So what I'm going to do, all this stuff here, I'm going to set this up. Well, we'll get one more. I'm going to set this up in a certain way. This is going to be 0. I want my handle right here because it's easy for me to do that, to disengage. So when you're threading, this is always going to return to 0, but you don't use the cross slide to feed your tool, and you're actually going to use your compound. And you can see this dude's on an angle. It's at a 29.5 degree angle because this is a 60 degree thread. You don't want to plunge into it. You actually want to cut half of that 60 degrees. So not exactly half, but a little bit less than half. And you'll get a nice smooth thread. So you set your compound for a precise 29.5 or 29. It just has to be less than 30. And so you got that. So what I want to do is just touch off on here. So I just want to just touch off, and then I know that's where to 0 my compound at. Take my time going slow because I want to just touch off on it. That way I can know what my depth is as I'm cutting this thread. Oh my goodness. There we go, I heard it. So I'm going to set this to 0. This is set to 0, this is set to 0. So what I'll do now, take another scratch pass, we set that to 1. What I'm going to do, this is the feed for the carriage and the cross slide. This engages the half nut for threading. So I'm going to do it a different way. It's a long story. It's the way you would chase metric threads, by just keeping this engaged, but it's actually easier on this particular lathe, and there's a reason for that, but it's too difficult to explain. So what I'll do is when I start this dude up, this carriage will start moving according to my 32 TPI and everything that I've got set up. And when it goes to the end, I'll disengage it. So you can see it's starting to cut a thread, and then I'll use that gutter there, shut the lathe off. And I'll go ahead and I'll run it back. Just because we're going to have to keep doing this over and over and over again. So I put this dude back to 0. And I don't touch this one. So what I need to do is verify that I'm actually at 32 threads per inch. I don't want to accidentally be doing 34 or something goofy and then thread the thing all the way and then be really pissed off and disappointed. And yep, it's 32. So what I'll do then, that was just a little scratch pass. We'll do 1, 2, we'll say 3 thousandths.
We go back to 0. I'll do another 1, 2, 3. Ah, hell, we'll do 4. It's not going to hurt anything. Oh, shoot. That was me slipping off the switch. So we'll keep doing this until we go get the thread depth that's necessary for this this thread pitch. Oh, exactly, dang it, exactly back on 0. 1, 2, 3, 4 thousandths. And if you can see now what I made that gutter for, it gives me an opportunity to disengage the cross slide when the tool falls in there. Gives me a place to back the tool out, and has absolutely no effect on the thread or the part. And eventually this will start looking like a thread. 3, 4. And you can see my thread is starting to form. It's probably going to be difficult to pick up on the camera. And I'm pretty sure that I might be wrong, of course I'm using my phone to record, so I can't really use the calculator, but I can't remember if the thread root depth is 21 or 26, so I'm at 18 now. I'm gonna pass through it a few more times and then start checking it with the barrel to a Remington 870 and make sure it fits. Some of this stuff is just absolutely monotonous, and some people really dread cutting threads, but like I said, it's really not that bad of an ordeal. So I put that back to 0, and then this is just going to be a scratch pass. Or I'm sorry, a spring pass. This is just cleaning up what we had before. And then one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to let that dude stay in reverse. Gotta get out of my way. I'm going to take a piece of emery, just in case there's any burrs. We'll lay them down. We'll lay them down in that direction, and then in this direction. And then, and again, I don't know that this thread's deep enough or anything. I'm just going to check it with a barrel, see if it starts screwing on. It'll give me an idea as to where I'm at. So let me move this guy out of the way. And if you guys would like to hold on 1 second, I get a barrel and we will be right back. And we're back again. And I took a barrel off of one of the 870s that we have here in the shop, since that's what I'm making this choke for. So I've got this, and we're going to do a test fit to see. Well, so far so good. Actually, looks like we're golden. As a matter of fact, the dude screws on there perfectly. Takes all day, but hey, fine 32 TPI thread. Oh, that's perfect. So that is absolutely what we wanted. So we got the threading portion done, and I mean realistically that probably took all of, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes or so. So people really dread threading operations, but it's seriously not that bad of an ordeal. The part that I'm actually dreading is what I've got to do next, and that is I got to cut the steps into this thing, and that's the wad stoppers as they call it, that the guy wants. And it's another boring operation, unfortunately. Probably could have done it before when I had the boring bar out. Probably would have been smart, but it doesn't really matter. I've got to do some math, figure out how deep each one's going to be, and we'll see. We'll see if we can figure that out right now real fast. Let's see what the wall thickness is here. I'm actually going to cut this down a little bit more, where I apparently didn't go deep enough. It doesn't matter, it threads all the way down, it does what it's supposed to do, but I want to cut that off of there. It doesn't look as good as that one does. So it doesn't matter. I should probably do it before I even bother measuring. Again, I blame the video. So we'll just do it by hand. Disengage the feed, that way it's not so loud. And it's about like that one. So I'm good with that. So now here's the part where I got to do math. And I think you guys have already gathered how much I enjoy math. So this guy wants 5 steps cut into this thing, which means I have to, the original bore of 682 counts as a step. Oh lordy. So I need to cut 4. We'll say over 4 of them over what distance? 2 inches is too much. That's too much. Oh, I know what I could do. Every 1/4 of an inch I can cut a step. Oh yeah. Put my guessing sticks back out. So we've got 55 thousandths. I at least want to leave 15, 55. So we got 40 to work with. So we'll cut 10 thousandths each step, a 1/4 inch long. Yeah, that sounds right. Where does my 1 inch start at? Oh, crappy guessing sticks. I got good guessing sticks and bad guessing sticks. So let's see. 1 inch starts exactly right there. So So that's going to be the most shallow cut. I said we got 40 thousandths to work with. I'm at 55. So 5 cut 10, 45 cut 10, 35 cut 10, 25 cut 10, 15. Okay. Sorry, I'm thinking out loud. So what we'll do, just gotta engage the feet again. And I'm just trying to touch off. Okay. So, what we'll do is we'll go in an inch. And then back out 5 thousandths. Now we need to go in 3/4 of an inch. I have to determine where that's at. So we'll back out another 5. Now we got to go a 1/2 inch. See where that's at? Now we got to go 1/4 inch. Now, and I don't know if you can. Three, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, cool. Can you get in there? See the steps? Those are the wad stoppers that the guy wants. I'm actually going to cut one more in there. It shouldn't be a big deal to put one that's about an 1/8 inch. And those grab the wadding of the shot cup. When the guy's doing a turkey shoot, I guess the science behind it is supposed to pull the wadding away and keep the shot together longer. So we'll do one more. Now, what I can do is deburr this dude and flip it around and machine it and finish it off. So I'm going to do to deburr it. And then another little crazy trick to deburr. It's nice and chamfered. So you can finally remove our part. It's absolutely covered in filth. And I don't know if you can you see the steps in there. So that's what we just did with the boring bar. Those are the wad stoppers that the guy wanted. So he's got his choke specs that he wanted. He should be happy with it. Trying to get some of this crap out of here. And as you can see now, I need to clean my chuck out because it's filled with shavings. Let's see how true this dude looks. That's a true spinning part right there. Stuff back out here and put my one carbide bit in there. That is the one that works good for me. I got stuff laying all over the place. Another thing that's very important, and I wish somebody would have told me when I first got into this stuff, was if you've got your tool sticking out real far from your tool holder, you know, if the dude's out here, it's got a lot of flex, and you're going to get an absolute crap cut. So now we need to turn this guy down. And then, let's see here. And then we'll dress it up, make it look pretty. Might help if I turn my feet on. we'll do is we'll chamfer the inside and the outside. So we got that inside chamfered. And we'll throw this guy in there to chamfer the outside. All this is a left hand cutting tool. The other one's a right hand. So they'll have the same angle. Turn it about the way the other one was. Let's see, have enough room? Yep. One thing that's very important is to make sure that when you turn on your lathe, you're not going to destroy anything. Trying to break the edge. Now, if I really wanted to be a nice guy, I would have knurled that and then chamfered the ends. But that actually turned out pretty damn good. That's what the guy was looking for. So, granted, again, I can't say this enough, and I'm not making excuses. This should not have taken that long. I truly screwed up my order of operations. I did everything backward. And, yeah, of course I'm making excuses here. It was because I'm in front of the camera. But that's okay. It turned out good. It looks nice. So, now that we got this dude and it looks all nice and pretty, I should probably try to run a wire brush on it real fast just to clean up any garbage that got in my threads. But you guys at least got to see a little bit of everything today if you're new to this. If you're somebody who knows machining, it's probably boring to you and you might not even be watching this anyway unless you're just wanting to critique me. But I mean, you got to see turning, boring, facing, threading, kind of a little bit of everything. So, we've got our 870 barrel. We already know it fits because, I mean, we threaded the dude on when it was on the lathe. Any day now. I mean, it is a, what, about an inch long thread, 3/4 of an inch maybe. That turned out pretty damn nice. So, hopefully, you can see a little bit there, but hopefully the guy will be pleased with it, and I hope it does good for him in his turkey shoots. I know they're very, very competitive. And I can't remember if I said this earlier or not. I know I was going to, I don't remember if I did. I asked about you guys' opinions on the content and all that, and this is my brother's first time helping me out and doing the camera work. So if you guys could also leave a comment how the camera work is. Was it good angles? You know, did he just zone off and daze into nothing like the wall, or, you know, who knows? Just let us know how it turned out. Again, we're new to this, so this isn't going to be the greatest thing ever. We're just trying to show some content, and we'll try to turn more out and hopefully make it better. So, appreciate you guys watching, and thank you.